Prince William will strip Prince Andrew along with all other non-working royals of their HRHs and princely titles when he ascends to the throne. Meghan and Harry will see their dukedoms and HRHs formally revoked, according to the Daily Beast, by Prince William.
A lot of people noticed something strange about Prince William lately. He's been very quiet, but that silence might not mean what people think. While the headlines around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle kept getting louder and louder, palace insiders say William hasn't been ignoring the situation at all. Behind the scenes, the future king has been watching everything closely, especially the ongoing debate about royal titles. Harry and Meghan still use the Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles, even after stepping away from royal duties years ago. Some royal watchers say that's simply tradition. Others argue it creates confusion for the public. And now one big question is starting to surface. When William eventually becomes king, will he keep things exactly the same, or will he handle royal titles in a completely different way?
Your titles are gone. You're going to be Meghan Mountbatten Windsor. Your husband's going to be Harry Mountbatten Windsor. And all your threats of legal action, I think, is something that William will quite rightly stare down.
According to several growing reports, William has been thinking very carefully about how the monarchy should work in the modern world. The choices he makes later could reshape who officially represents the crown and who does not. That decision alone could quietly change the entire structure of the royal family. There's also an important moment many people forget. Back in 2022, Denmark's Queen Margrethe made a move that stunned royal families across Europe. She removed the royal titles from 4 of her own grandchildren. No long public debate, no dramatic feud, just a firm royal decision, and it was done. These were not distant relatives either. They were her own grandchildren. Her explanation was surprisingly direct. Having too many royals with titles could weaken the royal brand. The public, she believed, should clearly understand who represents the crown and who is simply part of the family. While this was unfolding, Prince William was paying close attention. Unlike King Charles, who often focuses on keeping the family united, William has reportedly been studying the bigger picture. Interviews, documentaries, and tell-all books keep adding pressure on the monarchy itself. At this point, it's no longer just about family disagreements. It's about how strong and stable the monarchy appears to the public. And William seems very aware that institutions that last for centuries survive because they know when to adapt and when to draw a firm line.
Breaking today, Prince William doubles down. According to multiple sources, it's now a matter of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal titles.
Prince William isn't rushing into reactions or public statements. Instead, he's approaching the situation like a long game. Sources say he's thinking several steps ahead, almost like someone carefully planning moves on a chessboard. Behind palace doors, William has reportedly been consulting historians, constitutional experts, and trusted royal advisors. Their job is simple but important. Study how monarchies survive in modern times without losing the public's trust. And the conversations they've been having are starting to raise some very interesting possibilities. One major topic is the future structure of royal titles once William eventually becomes king. The key tool in that discussion is something called letters patent. This is a formal royal authority that allows a monarch to define who can officially hold certain titles. History already shows how powerful that tool can be.
I just had this conversation about Harry and Meghan. I think I was talking to Fox News, and I said, they might not think the rules apply to them, but they are insisting on using titles from the British royal family. And when you do that, whether you like it or not, you are representing the monarchy, and there are some rules that you have to abide by.
Back in 1917, King George V realized too many relatives were carrying royal titles. His solution was direct. He issued new letters patent that limited who could hold those titles. That decision reshaped the royal system at the time. Now, experts say a similar approach could guide the monarchy again. The basic idea being discussed is straightforward. Royal titles would mainly belong to those who actively represent the crown and carry out official duties full-time. Family members who choose a private path would still remain part of the family, of course, They could attend holidays and private gatherings, but official royal roles would stay separate. One insider reportedly described William's thinking like this: "If the crown means everything, it can't mean anything to everyone." And Denmark isn't the only example William's team has studied. Advisors have also examined how royal families in Sweden, the Netherlands and Spain modernized their systems while staying relevant in today's world. The goal seems clear: build a structure that protects the monarchy while adapting to modern expectations. While quiet planning was happening inside palace walls, Meghan Markle was building something very different on the outside. In April 2025, she launched a lifestyle brand called As Ever. The line included products like jams, chocolates, and bookmarks. But one word in the promotion instantly grabbed attention everywhere: Duchess.
Basically, the HRH is only given to working royals and senior members of the royal family because it denotes a level of I guess, respect in the public, and also it's not a financial thing. Working royals do not profit. They do not use their names to make money. It's an honour to have an HRH.
Absolutely.
So the fact that she's continued to use this HRH when they've been instructed not to, I think is absolutely infuriating in Buckingham Palace. And there was a very interesting source inside close to the Prince of Wales who spoke to the Daily Beast. He said that William's furious, unsurprisingly, and he's also already formulating plans to deal with this when he becomes monarch. I think that he feels that King Charles...
That single title carries serious weight. Speaking deals, streaming partnerships, brand collaborations, many of those opportunities connect to one powerful factor: the royal link. Meghan is not introduced like a typical celebrity. Instead, the story around her often highlights someone who was part of royalty and then stepped away to build her own path. In today's crowded media world, that angle makes her stand out fast. And things became even more interesting when reports surfaced that people connected to her team once explored trademarking the name Duchess of Sussex. The idea was simple but bold. If the title could exist as a registered business name, it could function as a brand in the commercial world. On paper, that might sound like a smart strategy. A trademark could turn a royal title into a recognizable business identity. But according to royal insiders, palace advisors had already thought about situations like this long before any official filings could move forward. Instead of reacting publicly, the palace relies on long-standing royal guidelines. Those rules quietly limit how titles connected to the monarchy can be used commercially. These systems have existed for decades and can be applied whenever needed. One insider described the contrast in a striking way. They said they brought checkers to a chess match.
Oh no, it will be active. It won't just be, I'm ignoring this. It will be, your titles are stripped, you are gone, you are banished. He doesn't even want Harry at his coronation. I mean, that is extraordinary. That shows you how far things have fallen. I don't think there is a way back. I really don't.
The suggestion was that while Meghan's side may have focused on branding possibilities, William's advisors had already studied every possible move on the board. The message tied to palace tradition is very clear. The Crown grants royal titles, and ultimately the Crown decides how those titles function. Royal status isn't something that can simply be reshaped into any type of brand. There are long-standing rules linking those titles directly to the institution itself. Still, one detail stands out. Much of Meghan's public image connects strongly to a single word: Duchess. At interviews, public appearances, and media announcements, she's often introduced as Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. When new projects appear, whether media deals, speaking events, or partnerships, that title usually sits right at the center. From a business point of view, that's powerful positioning. The royal connection brings attention, credibility, and market value. But analysts have started asking a bigger question. What happens if that connection changes through official royal paperwork?
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are going to have no role when Prince William becomes king, and he's already planning this out, and it's really not so much that he said they are not going to have roles.
Tools like letters patent could redefine who is formally considered part of the working royal structure, and in industries like media and entertainment, status and positioning can shift very quickly when the title behind a brand changes. In business, companies usually invest in what makes someone stand out. The rare story, the unique background, the angle nobody else can offer, and Meghan Markle's story definitely has that kind of appeal. She experienced life inside the royal household while still holding a title that connects her to that world today. That connection creates a powerful narrative. But if one part of that equation changes, the entire calculation can shift quickly. According to reports circulating in media circles, some companies linked to Meghan's projects, streaming platforms, production studios, and brand partners have quietly been reviewing her long-term value. Not in a dramatic or negative way, just from a practical business standpoint. Behind closed doors, the question is simple. What exactly are we investing in, and what kind of return does it bring? Here's the twist that keeps this story interesting. Meghan made it clear she wanted independence from the royal institution. She stepped away from strict protocols, constant scrutiny, and the pressures that come with palace life.
Part of that agreement, they said they would keep their HRH, and they're technically styles, just that's the nomenclature. They would keep Her Royal Highness, His Royal Highness, but they would not use them. And this follows in the past practice, Prince Andrew, when he stepped away from royal life after scandal. He still has the HRH, he does not use it.
That choice makes sense for someone wanting more control over their own direction. But stepping away can also bring unexpected trade-offs. For decades, the royal institution itself has functioned as a powerful global brand. When someone moves outside that structure, the palace doesn't usually react with loud statements or public battles. Instead, the marketplace naturally does what it always does. It reassesses, recalculates, and adjusts value based on positioning. That's why this situation is so fascinating to watch. The palace rarely handles matters with public drama. The monarchy relies on systems built over centuries, and patience has always been part of the strategy. Turning a royal title into a trademark sounds simple at first, but in reality it runs straight into long-standing protections. Royal titles are closely tied to the crown, and there are strict limits on how those titles can connect to commercial business. There's another key point many people overlook. Royal titles are granted by the crown, and they can also be adjusted by the crown.
Pandemic, Harry and Meghan, absconded to California to stay at Tyler Perry's house, and Tyler Perry doesn't seem to be doing so well right now, but they left 5 years ago. And I imagine Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's kids are going to Google themselves someday, maybe when they get into middle school or high school, and they're going to go, oh shit, we're royalty? You didn't tell us? We're in the house with Doria Ragland and, playing in the yard. We could have been royals. You know what I'm saying? Those kids are going to be so pissed someday. If I grew up, it's almost like, oh, what was that movie where she was kept inside or the kid was kept inside or something? It's like, you're going to Google yourself. Was it Room or something? Room. You're going to Google yourself, or like a Gypsy Rose Blanchard. She's going to discover she can walk. It's going to be like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's kids are going to discover we're royalty. You assholes didn't tell us.
If anyone argues that sounds unusual, historians quickly point out that similar changes have happened many times across royal history. That's how long-standing institutions usually operate. They rarely jump into emotional reactions or public confrontations. Instead, they rely on systems and protocols that were built over generations for situations exactly like this. According to royal observers, Prince William's advisors have been handling the entire topic in a calm, methodical way. The discussion isn't framed as punishment or conflict. Instead, it's being presented as modernization, streamlining royal roles and making responsibilities clearer for the modern era. And that's a difficult argument to push against. After all, who publicly argues against modernization or clarity? The result might bring noticeable changes, but the presentation makes it look like a natural evolution built on long-standing tradition. These royal systems have existed for generations and have been used before whenever the structure of the royal family needed adjusting. So where do things stand now? As of early 2026, Meghan continues focusing on her business projects. Her lifestyle brand, As Ever, is active, and she recently introduced a Valentine's chocolate collaboration.
Harry and Meghan as possible. And that's certainly a possibility. I mean, if I were them, I would grow up and I'd think, oh my God, you stole the opportunity for me to live history. You stole the opportunity for me to meet and spend time with the greatest monarch that has ever lived in Queen Elizabeth II. It's certainly possible. But look, William has absolutely no intention of allowing Archie and Lilibet back into the fold. At the moment, based on where his head is at, all of their HRH titles will be stripped. So Harry will lose his HRH, Meghan will lose his HRH, Archie will lose the HRH, Lily will lose the HRH. And the reason that will be given is that he wants to slim down the monarchy. But really, this is a lot about personal vengeance.
Her partnership with Netflix is still ongoing, although media outlets keep speculating about what the next phase of that deal could look like. Meghan and Prince Harry have also appeared at events like Sundance while promoting new documentary projects. At the same time, Prince William has been steadily shaping the future direction of the monarchy. Rather than simply waiting for the crown, he's already helping guide how the institution prepares for the years ahead. Even some critics who once called the monarchy outdated are starting to admit something surprising. Prince William's slow and strategic approach to modernization might actually be working. Still, one major question continues to sit quietly in the background. What happens to royal titles when William eventually becomes king? Whether that moment comes years from now or sooner than people expect, one powerful option will always exist. With a single royal signature through new letters patent, the structure of titles could technically change overnight. And the reasoning wouldn't necessarily be personal conflict. Institutions like the monarchy evolve over time. That's exactly how it has survived for centuries, by knowing when to adapt, when to tighten the system, and when clear boundaries need to be drawn. This situation highlights something many people overlook. Real power isn't always about making the loudest statements or dominating every headline. Sometimes the real advantage comes from understanding the system better than anyone else and knowing exactly how to use it.
And she's drawn out of Harry all this nastiness that he does exactly the same. And we can't have him going round. We can't have him going round to somewhere where William is going round and he sort of rushes to be there first, so he looks good. And he then says to his father, look, I can be really helpful. In Canada, he said, didn't he, just a few weeks ago. So he's just playing.
The royal institution operates on rules and traditions built over hundreds of years. Those structures allow changes to happen quietly, without dramatic public battles. At the same time, Meghan chose a very different path. She stepped away and built her own independent life. She's launching business ventures, creating media projects, and raising her children in California while pursuing opportunities that match her vision. That was clearly a personal decision she wanted to make. But independence also means stepping outside the royal structure, while the institution itself continues running according to its own long-standing rules. Meanwhile, Prince William appears focused on the long game. While headlines change every week, he seems to be thinking years ahead about how the monarchy will function in a modern world. The most interesting part? The full impact of these plans might not be visible until the day he eventually becomes king. Decisions like new letters patent could officially reshape how royal titles work. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective on what might really be happening behind palace doors, make sure to like the video, subscribe and share it with someone who follows royal news. And drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think William's strategy is smart for protecting the monarchy, or does it feel too calculated? Let's talk about it.
We're like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? He doesn't know what working is because he's never had to work. He's just a guy who likes to show up at events and shake hands, but it's like, that's not going to get you paid $100 million a year. And the thing that I've found so devastating for him over the past couple of weeks, I've spoken about both of these on my show, is that there were two media organizations who have been staying loyal to Harry and Meghan, and they were People Magazine and Us Weekly.